I forgot to add myself to the screen. Hey guys, it's Amy with Crafts by Aimee, and if you've ever watched me before, of course I'm waiting till the last second to print something out. I had issues trying to figure out what I wanted to do today. So, Miss Julie is finishing up right now, and I'm printing, and hopefully it won't take too long to print what I need printed. So yeah, we're gonna print something, cut it out. It's not gonna take us long to cut it out, hopefully. Let me grab, nope, not that one. Grab my corner rounder because I am gonna need that. Uh, it's been a day already, you guys. I'm not even gonna lie, it's been a day. You'll ever have issues trying to find things you know you have, but you don't know where they are? Hey, Tamara. It's one of those days where I know I have things, but I don't know where they are. And I've looked for them, and I still can't find them. So I'm gonna look one more time really quickly underneath here. And if I can't find what I'm looking for, I'm just gonna use something else. I can't find what I'm looking for, so I'm gonna use something else. Thanks, Tamara. Use this. And this. Because I can't find what I'm looking for. I'm looking for my mini scribble pad that I have. Or I'm not sure what it's called. It's the mini pads that they sell at the Dollar Tree. So I don't remember what they're called. They're called something like that. So instead of using what I was going to use, I'm going to use these pages instead and just cut them down to size. So this is the bigger scribble pad from the Dollar Tree. Still $1.25 as far as I know. I'm not sure how many pages I'm going to use, so I'm just going to pull out 3 of them. And I'm going to pull out a couple of sheets of my lined paper. Hey, Jennifer. How are you today? 1, 2, 3. I need more than this. I can always come back and add more. Or pull out more, I mean, to cut down to size. So I am making another tag pocket. Hey, Mandy. Thanks, Miss Jennifer. I am making another tag pocket with a little notebook in it, basically. Hi, Miss Teresa. So I need all of that, and I need to get a piece of some colored scrap paper to make a tag for it. Actually, I think I might use the piece that I have. Or I just put it over here. Make sure this is big enough. If not, I'll use the other piece. Oh, it's perfect size. And I still have leftovers from it. So I got my big tab punch from Amazon, I think. I love it. It is awesome. So again, I'm late and I'm printing out, paper because I wait until the last minute, obviously. So I'm just folding this in half. And I'm gonna press it with my bone folder. And while I'm waiting for that to finish printing, we're gonna put a stamp in this. We're gonna put words. So I'm grabbing my big old box of letters that I have. I'm pulling out my clickable ones from the the Michaels, you know, the Michaels from Michaels. These are the clickable ones from Michaels. So I just want to spell out sewing on it. So it might take us a second to find the letters, but hopefully it doesn't take us too long. E-W-I-N-S, where's an S? S, and I just need a G. Yes, I should reorganize these. No, I did not. There's my G. Sewing. Because my other one said fashion. So this one's going to say sewing. Because I have been working on a sewing journal. Hey, Miss Julie, thank you for sprinkling. Thank you, Miss Teresa, for sprinkling. I think I'm going to just use my archival ink in coffee. And this one should fit on the top part, if I'm looking at it correctly. It does have some ink on it from the last time I used it, but I think it just stained it. Because I know I clean these like right after I use them. In fact, get my white belt right now to clean it off. I don't want to press down too hard because I don't want ink getting around the letters. I just want ink on the letters. And these don't stay together that well, so sometimes I have to hold them better. Hey, Goo, how are you doing today? So I'm probably going to miss, actually, I'm not probably, I am going to miss some of the crafters in the rest of the event because I'm going to the theater to see Book of Mormon again tonight. I say again because I've seen it before. Not that I've seen it recently, but I've seen it. How's Miss Brooklyn doing? I hate these wipes, but they're not the worst. I mean, they're not good for a lot of things, but they're decent for cleaning off stamps. I'll say that. They just stretch so much and they're very, very thin. So I don't use them for a ton of things. So if you see some of my friends in here that you're not following, give them a follow. Sweet Angels Crafts is Jennifer. In case y'all don't know her first name, that's who that is. So this is going to go on our tag pocket. So this is my tag. It's fashion inspired / sewing. I'm good. We're getting ready for another crawfish boil this Saturday. Because it's Julianne's birthday. For those of you that don't know, Julianne is my sister. Goo is a family friend, so she knows my sister. I don't think I'm going to be able to trim that way, but that's okay. And then this is the little mini notebook that's going to go in that tag pocket. So I'm going to trim this up. I don't know what is wrong with these. I've had that happen twice. Once with this smaller one and once with my bigger one earlier today. They just come off the track like nothing. Emmy is good. She, we went to dinner last weekend for Julianne's birthday since we're having the crawfish boil. And Emmy just wanted her, iPad. I had made her a little traveler's notebook that was for, autism. And she took it, looked at it for about a minute. I tried to tell her that the pen wrote red. She used it. And she was like, yeah, I'm over this. I want my iPad. So, needless to say, she was just sitting there playing on her iPad most of the evening, except for when she had her food, which of course was chicken nuggets because she's a little kid. Oh, so it's her golden birthday this weekend if her birthday's on Saturday. My sister's golden birthday was 16. Needless to say, my sister's not 16 anymore. I won't tell y'all how old she actually is, but she's not 16 anymore. Okay, I'm gonna move my laptop off the table. I was actually gonna sew this together, and I still might, like, actually sew it. That's why I have some sewing things on the table. And that's why my table is completely cleared off, because I would need it to put my sewing machine up here. So I still need to fold these and trim the little edges. And if you've ever watched me before, I like using this to fold things and to score. And this is cardstock, so I am going to score this just because it makes cardstock easier to fold. So I was just trying to find the line because that top part, I should have had it upside down, but that was not the end of the world. I just score it. I just printed distressed looking parchment on the back of this because I like having it colored. Okay, that was not the center where I needed it, but oh, maybe it was. I was off when I was trying to fold it, apparently. So I printed the whole back of these because the last time I did one of these, Miss Tanya from Ribbon Branch Crafts, I had put the template and I had put just parchment paper on each of these, and when I printed it on the back of the paper, it didn't line up correctly for some reason. I don't know why, it just didn't. So I just decided not to do that this time. I just printed the whole thing. I am working on a tag, a pocket tag that is going to be, it's going to, actually, I think the thing is that the front and the back didn't match up, which made no sense because they were lined up in the Canva thing. They better line up. I'm going to be mad if they don't. No, they lined up this time. Good. They lined up this time. So I was going to take the sewing machine out and sew around here and around there. And I still might. I'm not really sure. And I'm going to use my corner rounder for this one. So I'm just using the 4mm one. Nope, that didn't work. Whenever I punch these side corners and I still see white, I take the bigger one. And then I'm like, okay, that worked. And since I did it on that corner, I'm going to do the same all the way around. And no, Miss Teresa, I did not put tape on the back of that thing. Probably should, but I haven't. Throw all this in the trash. So this is why I had the paper out. I have this out for this. Like I said, I was looking for my small one from the Dollar Tree, but I don't know where it is right now. And I have this, so I might as well use this. So I'm going to take my mini ruler out, measure this. I think I know the dimensions, but you know what they say, measure 20,000 times, cut once. Or at least that's what I say. So I'm going to measure this to see how wide I can make my notebook part. Because you don't want to make it too long. So I think I can do it at 4 1/4 by 4 1/4 by 6, because it's not going to match. Well, no, I don't want to make it that long. I'm going to measure where these little cutouts are. And then I'll see, because you don't want to go past that, because it's not necessarily that. It's more along the lines of I forget. So I'm going to do 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 for my papers. So we'll do 5 1/2 tall, 4 1/2 wide. And I am going to get my paper trimmer out. So for this one, I am just going to trim to make it the 4 1/2. I am not worrying about it. So, and I will keep the extra paper because eventually I'm going to make paper out of paper like Miss Sheila does. So we are going to do 4 1/2. Did I say 4 1/2? I think I meant 4. I said 4 1/4. I'm going to double check this before I do anything. Did I say 4 1/2 or 4 1/4? 4 1/4. That's what I meant. 4¼ and I'll just save this. And this was 5½. Let's see. 5½. I can't use the whole thing, so I'm just going to use this part, which is fine with me. I'll keep that for the other stuff. So we're going to do the same with this one. I'm going to see, I think that this is 12 inches. I'm going to double check because I think these papers are 9 by 12. Yep, they are 12 inches. They're 12 by 9. So I will be able to fold these in half this way and then cut them into pieces. Hi, Lucy. So I am just going to cut them into the 5½ inches. I need to get a bin to put all of those little scraps in. I don't know how I cut this that crooked. But it is definitely not even on this edge. And I don't know why. And I should have known it was going to do that, because it does that a lot. Okay. I should have just cut it by hand. It's because of the type of paper it is. It does this with my rice paper too, because it's thinner. Okay. Now I got a big old mess I have to vacuum up. Luckily I have a mini vacuum. I just pick up the bigger pieces though. And I just emptied it, so. It does sound like the battery's starting to get low though. It's definitely a great thing if you're a paper crafter to have. It did kind of rip up the back of the pages, but there's only so much I can worry about at one time. And I really don't like the pages being like that, so I'm going to get this out and trim it. It's still going to be okay. It's not, it actually, it was taller than what I needed it to be, I guess. I don't know. But I do need to trim it some this way. So I'm trimming this way to 4¼ and I'm just trimming them all at once. Because it's not that thick of paper. Okay. So we got our pages, we got this. I also thought about sewing this in with the sewing machine. Has anybody ever done that before? Has anybody ever sewed an actual journal with their sewing machine? I'm just curious. Because I have all the different size needles. So I have the thicker needles for like denim and stuff. I do have my hand needles and all of that goodness. But I figure if I did the sewing machine, I probably wouldn't need to, I wouldn't have to punch the holes because it would punch everything for me. So let's separate all of these. And separate the lined ones. don't know how I want to do this. 1, 2. 1, 2. I think that's how I'm going to do it. All my pages. So these are a little taller now. And I'm just going to fix that sort of. I don't know if I'm going to fix it or if I'm just going to have all my pages go down and then trim it. I think I'm just going to do that. Just get it all in there and then just trim these pages down. The ones that were taller. I didn't get it exactly even, but it looks better now. So nobody has ever done sewing with an actual sewing machine for these kind of things? Okay, well, I really do want to sew that part though. But I guess we'll hand sew the mini thing because I don't really need something that's that. That. My spline piece. Okay. So if you've ever seen me before, I use this a lot. This is We Are Memory Keepers. It's the spine punch. So this part is for the spine of the signature, and this part you use for the spine of the journal. But we're not doing a journal, so we're just going to use the spine part. And I'm doing it all at once because I learned my lesson last time. I did it separately and things did not line up correctly. And since this is not that thick, I do not have to worry about it being all wonky or anything. So I'm just going to put this in here, line up the cardstock piece up with the bottom part. And then figure out where I want my punches. That way they're definitely going to be the same size. Let's see, this one. And this one. Let's see how many are in between. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So I can do 8. Oh, that was wrong. Oh well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It ended up being okay. It's not really a journal. It's a mini notebook kind of to put in a pocket that's gonna go in my journal. I already made one of these. I didn't make it on a live. I made one on a live that was from an Etsy purchase, but then I made my own, if that makes sense to you guys. So I'm just gonna get my smaller needle. I don't need my really big needle. Sometimes I will use this doll needle that is a really long needle when I'm doing my journals because of the amount of pages. Sometimes I have issues getting my pages to go together, especially if they're different sizes. These are all the same page length, so I don't really have to worry about that. So I just measure 3 times the length of my journal or notebook or whatever you're sewing like this for hand sewing. One of these days I am going to sew one of these on a... I mean, this is not a ton of pages, so I don't feel like I would break the needle trying to sew, especially since these scribble pages are such lightweight. So if you've ever watched me in the past, you know that I don't like my thread showing. So I go from the outside in and I tie it on the outside, and I'm just starting my needle right now. And then I will put that tab that I made where I tie my knot in the middle. So if you went from this way, from the inside, your knot would end up here. I don't want my knot to end up here. I want it on the back side. So that's where I'm going to pull my needle in from. And I'm just going to try and hold it in place. It's only 3 stitches, so you just go up to the top where this hole is up here. And this is where I talk about how my pages don't like to all go through the needle together. There they go. I'm just making sure that piece stays out on the back so I can sew it. So you go in the middle, whichever way you want. If you want your threads in the middle, you can do it the opposite way and just go from the center, from the inside. And then you just come down to the bottom and you sew it into that one. And again, this is me with the pages not lining up for some reason. And I don't want to make like 6 holes in here, so I'm just kind of pulling it up at the bottom. I know you guys can't see that because the camera's not tilted towards me enough. There. So I am there. So you, and if your thread comes out of your needle, just rethread it. It's because this eye on this needle is really big. That's why it came out. So then you're going to take your thread and you're going to go back through this middle hole, trying not to sew through the thread, if that makes sense. So you're going to try and sew it again through this hole, but you don't want to go through the thread you've already sewn with. So you're kind of sewing next to it if you want to look at it like that. And this is not as difficult as I am making it look. It is just not working well for me because when do things ever work well for Amy on a live? No, I do not need another hole. Go through the one that's already there. Okay. So then you're going to end up with your 2 strings here. And you can see that this piece right here is really loose. So you're just going to take your strings and you can pull whichever one you really want. I'm just pulling this one because it's the shorter one. And you just want to tighten it. My stitches on the inside were already tightened. It was just this back part that was loose. So you just tighten it, tie a couple knots in it. And by a couple, I just keep going sometimes because that's how I roll. And then you're just going to snip it. And you don't want to cut it too short. You still want to be able to have some of that on there. And put my needle back in my case so I don't lose it. I'm going to take my little tab that I already did. Put this back where this goes. I'm going to take my little tab. So this is the back of the notebook, but this is where it's going to say sewing. So we're going to put it here on the journal. So you're not going to see my little stitches that are right here. And a lot of times I will tape this down with a tiny piece of tape. That's why I have a little tape dispenser. I don't use this for anything else. And I mean the tiny piece of tape. So I'm just folding this down and then holding this down and then taping it. Because this is going to cover it. It's just, I just like making sure things stay down. So I'm only putting glue on this bottom section right here. I could have done sewing on both sides of this, but I didn't think about that. Actually, let's do that. I mean, I didn't take the stamp apart. It's still together. And my little wipe is still here, so let's just do that. I'm usually not on at this time of the day, but I have been earlier this week for a few events. But like I said, I won't be home this evening, so there is that. And I kind of put that a little bit too close to the edge. And this is what I was talking about when I said these things don't stay together that well. I don't know if it's just because it's the ones from Michael's. I've never had this issue with the more expensive ones from Amazon. And I don't think I mentioned this, but up after me is Stephanie with Crafting on a Budget, as far as I know. I haven't seen any schedule changes, so I'm going to assume that Stephanie is next. So I'll just let that dry for a second. And like I said, I'm only gluing on this bottom part. I don't want to glue on the top part. And this is just art glitter glue. And you do need glue on both sides. Otherwise, it's not going to stay down on both sides. So I'm just going to line this up. I don't even care if it's in the middle. That does not bother me. And then I'm just going to take this side and press this down. So now it is glued on here. So now we just have to worry about the other part. Who wants to see me sew that thing together? Because my sewing machine is in here. It's right next to me. You know what? I'm going to keep those out. I'm going to put my handy in there. I do need to punch out an opening that will match up with this. So I'm going to line this up, and I'm just going to make some marks with a pen, my friction pen. I'm going to make it a little bit wider, just a tiny bit, like a 1/16 of an inch. I don't know why I'm using those scissors. Those are not my paper scissors. And if you've ever watched me before, I have scissors for different things. So I don't need this to be too wide, and I don't need it to be too, well, I need it to be a decent depth. So I'm turning this over to see where, because it's going to go all the way in. So let me see. I want it to at least go part of the way into where the tab is. Pen back out. Let's see. And that pen erases if you need to. Well, nobody said anything, but I kind of want to sew, so I'm going to get my sewing machine out. It is on the floor over here because that's where I put it. And it's really heavy. And this was my grandma's sewing machine. And we're going to see if I can move this around at all to point towards the machine more. I don't know if this is going to work. Hi, Carrie. Welcome. I don't think I've ever seen you in one of my lives before. So I'm going to make my chair go down so I can touch the foot, the presser foot. And it does have a has to be plugged in a certain way. It's not interchangeable. And I can't even tell you people how old this machine is because I have no clue. But it was my grandma's machine. My grandma, my mom's mom, my mom and my mom's mom, and my grandma, my great grandma that I'm actually named after, they all love to sew. So it has a light. I wish I could figure out how to get this to come out enough. Let me see if I can move this more. This is why I like the overhead. So I'm tightening my thing so it doesn't come out any more than that, you guys. Unfortunately. Maybe if I move it back just a tiny bit, I can angle this so you can kind of see. It's not long enough to where I can pull it towards me and have it go down. It just isn't. I have never sewn on paper. And I am going to unthread this needle and change it out for a different one, because this is the one that I have that's for sewing on fabric, and I know it works on fabric, so I'm putting it aside, and I'm using one of the needles that I got from Amazon to sew. I'm not a fast sewer, but neither is this machine, so bear with me, you guys. I don't know if y'all have ever changed a needle before, but it's not very difficult. You just got to make sure. Okay, well, I need that out of my way. You just have to make sure you get it into where you need it, and then that you tighten it right. I have not done one that's just strawberry shortcake. I do have one that is 80s themed. It is strawberry shortcake, Rainbow Bright, and Care Bears. Sorry guys, I'm just trying to make sure to push it up enough, and it wasn't at first. You want to make, well, I don't know, not all sewing machines are created the same, but you want to make sure you can see the top of it on mine. And yes, my table squeaks and I hate it. Yes, I did just lick the thread so it would stay together if it starts fraying when you're trying to thread your needle. This is an old sewing machine, you guys. I can't even tell y'all what year it's from. And my grandma said the one that she had before this was the one where it just had the foot, but it wasn't electric. It was the one that I don't know if y'all have ever seen those old black ones that they made. That was what my grandma's machine was before this. This brand is not even a brand that most people know. It is a Labelle Onyx. I've never heard of this brand. I had to Google it, and it was having trouble finding the manual. And now I'm having trouble threading this thing. If I had my sewing kit, I have a needle threader in it, but I don't know where it is. And that's sad on so many levels. Okay. I'm having issues with this foot being in my way, so I'm taking the foot off for a second. There's literally just a lever on the back that the foot is on, and it's really easy to put it back together. But it felt like it was in my way just now. And a lot of the sewing machines that they make nowadays, the bobbin is a drop-in bobbin that goes in from the top, and this machine is not. It has a front load bobbin, and it has a thing for threading the bobbin up here that doesn't work. So I bought myself a bobbin winder, because taking a sewing machine like this to a shop to get fixed, you have to pay for labor, and I figure it's probably going to cost at least $100 for them to look at it and fix it. And the little bobbin winder thing was only $24. And this is ridiculous. I've never had this much trouble threading a needle. It's not because I can't see either. I can literally see the eye, but the thread does not want to go through the eye. It's the eye of the needle. Okay, well, we're going to try something else. I'm taking the needle back off, and I'm going to try to thread the needle and then put it in, because this is not working. Yes, I am blind, but I am not blind that badly. This eye hole is just really tiny. There we go. There we go. Okay. Now we're cooking with gas. Okay. Now we can put the needle back in. I have never in my life had to do that with thread and a needle for a sewing machine. Like, I can thread the little needles that are, they are called, what are they called? They are bead needles, you guys. Bead needles have really tiny eyes, and yet this was what was giving me a fit. And I think I just put this in backwards. Of course I did. I put this thing in backwards. I think I had the needle in backwards. That might be why it wasn't threading easily. Okay. I'm going to lift this up and put my foot back on. Putting the foot on is not difficult. There's a little lever in the back of mine that you just press, and it hooks on it. Like, it releases it, and then it's supposed to snap back in place. Why is this thing not snapping back in place? Okay. This piece on my sewing machine goes down. It's supposed to just go back in there. Y'all would know if I was going to have trouble with something, it would be on a live. There. It would be on a live. It would definitely be on a live. Okay. Well, now we're going to try and sew this, and I'm going to try and sew it exactly at the edge. Maybe not exactly at the edge, but I am not going that far from the edge. This foot is not level. I might have to move the sewing machine just a tiny bit so that I can get it on the floor level. There. Okay. I don't sew often, in case y'all don't know that. So my foot is down. It's in sewing mode. I am just doing a straight sew. I am not doing zigzags or anything. And we're just going to see how this works. I don't really think I need a back stitch on this because it is just paper. So I'm not. So I'm just taking my... So I did sew it. The stitches on the back of it look horrible, which means my tension is off. I'm not going to mind that it looks like this, just for the simple fact that this is my first time ever doing anything like this. I could pull the stitches out and redo them, but that would just eat up the paper. So I'm not. I'm just going to leave it as it is. And I know that there is a way you can tell if the thread tension needs to be loosened or tightened. And I'm going to see if I can find that because I can't figure out what it was. I can't remember what it was. Because it'll tell you if the stitches look like this on the top but look like this on the bottom, it's one way. If it looks like this on the top and this on the bottom, it's the other way. So I might need to adjust it. But I don't thread tension. Thread tension guide sounds like a good thing to look up, right? I'm going to grab a sip of water while I'm looking this up because I'm thirsty. Let's see. It says it should be on 4 or 5. Mine is on a 5, I think. Or maybe it's on a 3. Maybe I need to tighten it. That might be what it was. Because I just found an image that shows the picture of what you don't want your piece to look like. And it kind of looked like mine. So I'm thinking that's what it was. But like I said, I am not going to worry about that piece because it's junk journal, guys. It's not a big deal. I am going to move this over because I need to sew against the edge right here. Just a little and move this back some. Okay. So I'm going to go slowly. Apparently I'm going to go very slowly. I don't know why it's doing that. All I did was put one stitch in. It's already messed up. Okay. That was weird. I've not had that happen before. That was really weird. That was really weird. I've never had to do that. Okay. Yeah, we're just gonna start that stitch over. Hey, Bonnie. I am trying to sew this card together. I don't know if it's gonna work, but we're trying to find out. I think I just messed this up. I think I'm ripping the bobbin. I think I did mess this up. Well, now you guys get to see what the bobbin looks like in my machine. Because the thread is not supposed to be down there. Okay. Y'all are learning something new today that you didn't know you were going to learn on a junk journal event. I'm just winding this back around the bobbin because I don't need it that loose. So mine goes in the front. So I put it in here. And then there's a little hook thing right here. And I bring it around this part. And you want to make sure your bobbin stays in while you're trying to put this back in the machine. And it has a cutout to put it in, and then you click it in place. And then you take your needle and the thread that's in it, and you go down around your bobbin, and it pulls the thread that you need up and out. You can use any kind of thing to pull the thread from the bobbin. Scissors were just there, so that's what I'm doing. Putting my arm back up so I can have a level surface. And we're going to try this again. For like the 15th time. Okay, we're just going to go for it now. So I don't know if y'all have never sewn. Whenever you get to a corner where you need to sew something, you leave the needle in. You lift up the presser foot. You put the presser foot back down. And if you need to do it with your manual thing, it's totally okay. Like I said, I am not doing the back stitching on this. It's paper. I don't think it's going to mess it up. So you just pull your threads and trim. And you just trim your... And we're going to see what the back of this looks like. Hopefully it looks better than the bottom. Nope, not by much. Well, so now the threads are messed up on the opposite sides. So instead of being messed up on this side up here, it's messed up on the other side. But it's not as messed up. So I think I was fixing the tension issue. It's just not completely fixed. But my card is sewn, my tag is sewn together, so we got one thing done. So I'm going to turn this off, and I'm going to unplug it. And put my presser foot down so it's not breaking the needle. And I'm gonna move this off the desk and out of the way. Oh, and let me tell you, that machine is heavy. Oh, that was a heavy duty machine. That's a heavy duty machine. Okay. Well, now we've got that. Now let's see if this actually fits in here. Or if I sewed it too close to the opening. Because it's highly possible. Nope, it does fit. It's a little tight. So what I'm going to do, since we made the paper go into where this is, I am going to trim a tiny bit off of each end. Like a tiny bit. I missed what... My machine is a LaBelle Onyx. It was my grandmother's machine. I'm pretty sure they don't make them anymore. And I couldn't tell you what year it was from because she had it before I was born. So I'm just trimming off the tiniest bit from the end of these. Because my paper is way in there. Well, I hope I taught you something of what not to do. No, I'm kidding. It turned out to be okay, you guys. It's not a bad thing. So now I'm just going to re-round my corners. And this time I'm just using the 4-inch. I mean the 4-millimeter. Because I know I'm not going to have all that white. Yeah, it is definitely heirloom. It's definitely from, I would say, the 70s. At least, probably. Actually, you know what? It's probably from the 60s. It might be from earlier than that, but it's definitely at least the 60s. Because that's when my mom was sewing stuff, was back in, like, the 60s. My mom said she used to sew her clothes. And my grandma used to help her. And her grandma. Sorry, guys. I'm trying to line up the corner and the corner thing, and it's not. Like, I see it, but I don't. I see it, but I don't. I don't know. It's not the end of the world. I at least rounded them somewhat. So let's see if this fits in here better. Because I trimmed that one little... Yes, it does fit in here better. So now all I need to do is cut the little opening here. So that I can see part of that tab. Just cutting it there. Cutting it there. And since I can't cut a straight line, I'm just getting my mini cutting mat from the Dollar Tree out, and I'm just going to use a craft knife to cut this. That is not what I was looking for. My craft knife here. Yes, it is. So I'm just going to cut from there to there and see if it cut all the way through, which it didn't. And now it doesn't want to cut straight. I normally would not do this with these scissors because I only really use them for thread, but that was not cutting straight, and it didn't cut all the way through right there. It was going to drive me nuts. Let's put this back on here so we don't stab ourselves. Okay. I am going to get better at using that sewing machine for crafts, but obviously today is not the day. But honestly, that is the first time that I have sewn on that sewing machine since I got it out of its bag. I tried sewing with it before, and it wasn't working, so I made my mom sew on her machine for me. Because my mom has her own sewing machine. My mom has a sink. which I'm sure y'all have all heard of that brand. So let's pull out my big old journal. So this is my journal. I put these little butterflies on there. I think they're like crocheted or something. I don't really know what they are. They're from Temu. I can show you guys. They're like lacy embroidered. I don't know what they are. They're these. They come in different colors. They could just be thread. I don't know. It looks like crochet to me, like, or embroidery. Probably embroidery. And then this is the big paper flower I made. I don't think I made it on a live. This is the inside of my journal. It's not very far along. It has 4 signatures. I need to trim these bags because I put them in here and didn't do anything to them. I have waterfalls. Mandy, I figured out how to do waterfalls that move. I have that one and I have another one in here. I made tags like this. This is what I really wanted to do, is do a tag like this and then do some zigzag stitches on it. But I want my tension to be correct before I try to do that. This is the other one that I did that I was talking about. This is the one I wrote. And I didn't. I glued this one together, so I think I glued it too much. But I did fashion. I also did not line this up well because, as you can see, it's not really near the edge where it should be. But this one has different papers in it. It has a little bag in it. I put a doily in it. So they're not the same, which I like. And I distressed this one more than the one we just did. And I think I might change this one out because the image on here looks very much like her. So I might put this one in here instead. But I think I kind of want to distress it now that I have it in front of me. So I move that up some. So I can fit my ink pad here. And just distress the edges of the little mini notebook that we put in there on both sides. Like I said, the inside of this little notebook and the inside of the tag, which I really didn't need to print the inside of the tag. I don't know why I did that. I wasted ink on that. But it's parchment. I printed parchment on it. I just made it using Canva. I should have distressed the edges of this before I put it on, but I didn't, so thank you for having me. Thanks, Debbie. Thank you, Mandy. Yeah, I learned a new way to make it, Mandy. I don't remember where I saw the original one. A while back, I made one on a live, and the piece that wraps around it that you're supposed to secure to the journal page that helps it move ended up on the outside, and I found another way to do it to where it doesn't do that. And I made it the other day on my one of my lives. So if you want to learn how to do it the way I did it, which seemed a lot easier to me, you can go back and watch my live from the other day. Always happy to be in your events. I'm glad I was able to switch times and actually be in it today. Since I won't, like I said, I won't be home this evening. Me and a friend are going to see the Book of Mormon because that's what's in town this week. And I love that play. The songs, that play is hilarious. Now you need to make one for yourself. The fashion/sewing journals are fun because there's so much stuff you can find to put in it from vintage stores and Hobby Lobby and Etsy and I'm sure eBay. I don't really buy a lot of stuff on eBay for stuff, but I'm sure they sell it on there. Yeah, I'll have to show you the other one that I did that I'm talking about. It's in here. Up after me again is Stephanie with Crafting on a Budget. If you're watching on the group, all you have to do is refresh the page and she'll be in there. I think it is in the signature. This is what I was putting it on the parchment, not parchment. This one. This is the other one that I did. I put it on this masking paper, and so it helped the paper be a little bit thicker, and that way it's thicker on the back. But this is the one I did the other day. And I didn't use double-sided paper, which in retrospect I kind of wished I had, but yeah. This is the one I made on the live, though. For anybody wondering. That's the one I made on the live. Got about 1 minute left before Miss Stephanie should be on. Trying to find the other end of this bag so I can put this in it. Obviously, I have a ton to do on this because there's hardly anything in it other than pockets and a few things in the pockets. Like my tag that I did yesterday, which I need to take a picture of. So let's go watch Miss Stephanie. I will be in the comments as long as I can before I need to go get ready to leave because I have to travel to go to the play. So I will see you guys later. Bye, guys.